and it's Galaxymew here today to present something I'm really proud of. I've been working on this one for a very, very long time. I will say it has been 6 to 8 months since I started this piece, and oh boy, was it a doozy. So I'm so happy I was able to get the initial sketch so that I could show you the entire process, and if you could believe me, the background was the easiest. I wanted to say hardest because it just seems like it would have been, but no, it was the easiest part of this drawing. That never happens, and so it was such a surprise. I had no idea who the characters were going in. Initially, I had ideas of making it some original characters or learning from that, but it just didn't work out. So I ended up taking a break. But while working on the background, I did it in one sitting. And so the background was the funnest part. I got to play with lighting, shading, adding rocks and trees, and building texture, and playing with contrast, and it was just so much fun. I learned some really fun simplification techniques by just adding specific points of light, and it was the most educational background I think I've done in a while. Of course, this was 6 months ago, and so these techniques have actually been applied in other backgrounds I've done in other paintings. In the future, I hope to get to share them. Now, I did try to do everything in the background on one layer, and it did sort of bite me in the butt. You don't see it in this particular recording, but that tree does move. I had to cut it out with the lasso tool, so call me silly, but I guess I like to try to apply traditional techniques in a digital space. So, that's fun. The rocks and the roots were fun, and I had some fun brushes I could play with these ones. Now, working on the water, I decided to make it a light orange, sort of to play with the colors of the background. I figured the orange would work well with the greens, and I used the smudge tool to just build some dynamics in the water. Now, unfortunately, the water didn't look as bright as I wanted it to, and I think by using a white bright color, I didn't utilize it as well as I could have. I think I could improve on my water, but that's a thing for another time. So I start to add a foreground here, and then for some dumb reason decide to cut it out. I don't know why, but this comes to bite me in the ass later on in the painting process. So, here I am obsessing about water texture, and I start to sketch the characters, and oh boy, this is what took me 6 goddamn whole months. So I start with the 2 original characters I was initially gonna just throw here for fun, just to finish it off. And it didn't work, so I went to drawing 2 other characters, maybe Firestar and Greystripe running together in the river, but that didn't work out either. They looked derpy, and their postures just didn't work. So, I tried again, and it still didn't look right, so ugh! So I try again, and this is the final try, and then this was the most recent recording, and I did it as of this week. So, this has been 6 months, and now I'm resketching it. And I go with the initial posture in the end anyway, but making one character go into the foreground. So that solves the problem with the foreground, and I think that's really what it needed, something to balance the front and back. So, in the end, for the character decision, it was a hard choice, but I ended up doing Greystripe and Silverstream. And I just loved the way Greystripe was postured so playfully in this, and it works out in the end. I decided not to do the base coloring immediately, and instead focus on the shadows, which is different than my usual process, but it worked out in the end. I was able to focus on where those shadows and lights work, and that's the fun part about digital, is you could really get to control those aspects. And so don't be afraid to, it is my suggestion for other people, to change up the mix, you know, if you're used to drawing one way, try drawing another. So now I'm adding Greystripe's color, and he's the easiest character to color, and from this point on, I don't think I need to continue narrating. The painting explains itself. So I want to thank you for joining me on another rambling adventure through a painting that took, honestly, way too long. So thank you. Consider subscribing if you like my art, and hopefully you like my narration. and I will see you on the next speed paint. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful afternoon.